It looks like we're live.
All right, so thank you for that. So, hi, I'm Linda Tilson, and I am here with the men's room today. And I have got Mess Playman. Now I'm gonna mess up your name, Mess. Oh my goodness.
I say it myself.
Playman Rosso. And then I've also got RJ Horner here with me. And today we've got something special planned. What we would like to do is we would like to do our giveaway to our community of listeners with a book of support called Mental Health. It's Time to Talk with Alan Keeler. And so here it is, our special book right here by Alan that he has donated. And then also of interest, we are giving away a Born Resilient bracelet. And so today we will have our lucky winner chosen live here on this broadcast. But before we do that, we wanted to talk a little bit about why the Men's Room Show, why we do our work, and why we do it as a mixed audience. And so really, we believe that men and women, when they come together to talk about men's wellness issues, concerns, that when we have an awareness of a different perspective, that there's more than one way to look at issues. And so rather than being all in a women's group or all in a men's group, we choose to support men's wellness with women's presence. We also do interview women practitioners, women who might be a wife, a daughter, a sister of the men in her life, because we found that when we bring our conversations to the table in a united group and we tune in and listen to different perspectives, sometimes we walk away with new tools, ideas, and ways that we could approach things differently. And so what better way to do that than to come together in a united front? Because I could say men prefer women to act in a certain way when this thing happens. I could do that. But if the men actually are at the table as part of the conversation, rather than me talking about the men in the room, they're actually here having a conversation and dialogue, then they can say, well, no, that's a myth, or no, that's not exclusive to a gender, or I don't see it that way. This is how I see it. We can actually go into healthy dialogue and conversations in a supportive environment where when we get awareness about how things are really viewed and that unmasked, that vulnerable state, we can learn so much more about what we can do and what we should avoid doing, because a lot of times we think we go in with really good intentions and then we find out, well, no, that's not really the what we could do, and there's other ways that we can support. And so I am a real true believer that going into conversation is kindness, and that is the basis for the men's room and why we started, was really to open up the dialogue and have mixed genders. And so,
And so if I can add on to that a bit, Linda,
yes.
is that because I mean I've had this conversation with people because they ask, why am I involved with Linda and why is she involved in a men's room program? Like, what does that have to do with men? And you know what? Look, you have young boys, you have a husband in your life. You know what I mean? These are people who are important to you. Therefore, their mental well-being and their overall health is important to you. And whereas you may be experiencing issues, you may not quite understand it from the male perspective, right? So having these open dialogues, like you say, we can feed off each other, right? You can support, you know, you can find support for the men in your life, but also look, we as men, we don't always understand. Men and women have different traits and they have similar traits amongst themselves. So we can get them the female perspective, you can get the male perspective. By having these open dialogues, we're more likely to be on the same page.
Thank you for adding that, RJ. I appreciate that so much. Because it's men such as yourself that bring it forward, that we can have these conversations. And so you're living by example. And so again, that's great leadership. And Mess, also as a young person, great example of you coming in and connecting us with technology and resources for when we go and have these community engagement conversations. I value your leadership as well. And so United, really, we're, a great team when it comes to promoting men's wellness. And, this is just one of many things that we do. I will say real quickly before I pass the mic over to Mess, is that we do have men's circles that we host that are unrecorded, do not go live, and we talk to the issues that matter most to men. And that's one of many things that we do, in addition to having interviews that we host on our channel, to having panel discussion interviews where we really can dive deep into particular issues with a number of individuals. And it doesn't just stop there. One thing that I was reminded today to share is the fact that in my local community, so where I live and work, I also hand out resources to men. And so one of the books that I shared with us today actually is going into the hands of a man that has hit that place where he could use support. And so it was given to him as a resource. And so even in my local community, I'm supporting the men in my life. And so again, what better way to do that than to unite, such as the Men's Room Show. And so with Mess, go ahead and let's have you talk a little bit about the interview that you had with Alan.
Yeah, I was chuffing myself when he booked the call with me. I was very happy with myself. It was a great conversation. And Alan's been through, let's call it through a roller coaster of a life. It's been say a bit up and down. It's been a lot of down and then some up from the conversation I had with him. He experienced a lot of different things. And just one of the things that stood out to me when was asked him, like, why did you write this book? Obvious question to ask anybody that wrote the book. And he was like, he was shoveling snow one day. Was like where the story started. Like, writing a book in the snow? Apparently not. But it kind of just hit him. He at one point he thought like somebody like hit him back on the head with a snowball. Maybe a kid came out, boop. Like, you never know. But then it was like nothing hit him. And it just felt like the idea and the concept for the book was there. Because it's not only him that's talking about his journey in the book. I think it's so great because it's multiple journeys, multiple people that's gone through certain struggles in their life. And the reason why I like that so much is everybody's story is different and everybody relates to different stories. Sometimes you have to hear 5 stories to find one that's relatable, sometimes 10, sometimes 15, sometimes it's the first one. But just hearing like that multiple different perspectives on things is so powerful, which I think is why anybody should check out the book. And I'll, of course, also check out the podcast we did, because I've done quite a few interviews, probably close to 100 nowadays with other people. And I was shocked at how good Alan was at speaking. I'm like, wait, what? Like, he really, like, he's like the standout best performance speaker I have interviewed or spoken to, I remember, which is, well, potential great concept. And I think it's a very, like the thumbnail says, raw story. He really goes into a lot of graphic detail, probably sometimes more than YouTube likes. So it's not quite like the other content you normally see on here, because it's not promoted everywhere. I won't mention any of the things specifically, so let's have this live stream make people aware of the story, and then you can go ahead and check out the podcast. And it was an emotional one. I was like maybe close to shedding a tear like a few times on there, but it's like, if he can do it with what he's been through, like, you can do it too. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's story probably sucks equally as much throughout life. You hear billionaires complaining about not having enough money and nobody loving them, not having their parents. I remember once where I worked with a guy, and this was in the rich part of town. I lived quite far away, but his parents loaded. I think his dad was a CEO of a big company, But I remember like on a trip to Germany with him, and we getting really drunk, and him starting to talk about it, like never saw his father, he never really saw his mom. It felt like they didn't want them. And that point, I asked myself, I would rather have the life I'm living with parents and family that loves me and all this money. So there's different struggles for different people, no matter where you are in life, and you don't really want to betray like lives with another person. But before I start rambling on too much and get on to too many different subjects, check out the podcast with Alan Kayler. Check out his book, Mental Health. It's spelled in really like the title because he abbreviates the men part. It's time to talk. Actually, I'll put the link in the chat for anybody watching.
That's the link for the podcast you're talking about, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, and I just will iterate that subject is that, look, all of us, I always joke, look, even Warren Buffett has stubbed his foot a time or two. You know what I mean? Nobody's perfect. We all have troubles. We all have experience pains. And that's kind of, I think, the point behind Alan Keeler's book is that, look, it's time to talk about this subject. For many eons, it has been taboo, right? It's a topic we don't discuss. But we in Canada, I know, and now it's even becoming very prevalent in the United States, that we're starting to talk about mental health, and let's call it well-being. It is an aspect of life that we have to acknowledge. And I think, that's his Alan Keeler's way of let's get this conversation going. Let's start talking about it. And we're going to start talking about it here in this community in the Men's Room Show. So are we ready to do this draw?
Yes,
we are ready.
Quick
so
shout out to Parker. I see him he just dropped the comment.
Perfect.
I'm wishing I'm biased here. I hope he wins.
So we do have 4 names that we put into a randomizer, and that's because so we're using this Alan Keeler's book. He was kind enough to donate 4 copies of his book, and so we wanted to use it to entice people, to drive membership into our community. So these are the people we're drawing for the first draw of this book. We have 3 more to give away. So over the next several months, join us. You know what? Come in, sign up to be a part of the Men's Room Show, and get yourself involved in the draw for this book. So whoever wins this book, we're going to reach out to them and make sure that they get the copy of the book. So are we ready to go and do this draw live while we're here in the Men's Room Show?
We are.
So let's do it. We've got a randomizer set up with the 4 names. So we had Parker, Zachariah, Lee, and Stewart. So all I have to do is press the button and we will be ready to go. Somebody want to do a countdown for me?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And so it looks like Zachariah. Congratulations, Zachariah.
Yes,
You are the winner for the first book, Alan Keeler's book, Mental Health. It's Time to Talk.
And we will be reaching out to you to confirm your address, and then we will get that right out to you.
And for the people that didn't win, we're going to keep your names in the draw, so you still have a chance for the next couple of books that we're giving away.
Absolutely.
So Zachariah, we will remove his name. Congratulations. He is a winner. And then the rest will remain in the draw for future drawings. So don't believe that, you missed your opportunity, but keep those sign-ups coming. Get involved, and maybe we have 6, 8, 10 people over the next coming months to draw.
And so with that, we conclude this live event, but we don't want you to be a stranger. We want you to like, listen, and subscribe to our channel. And if you would like to become a guest, there's a way you can do that as well. The links to submit an application to be considered as a guest, that would be wonderful. If you know somebody that should be a guest, we want you to bring their name forward as well.
Question, Linda, where can they find the forum? Because I can't post links in the chat, apparently.
Yes, so the form has been shared out on both LinkedIn, Facebook and YouTube in the different interviews. And so
Are we able to post it in this chat? Do you have the link handy right now?
No, I do not
lose it
have the link handy
when I
right
tried to
now, but
post
I
the
know
YouTube
Mess
link.
has probably got us covered. We can go ahead and put it in
I need to see if I need to get onto the Moonshroom account then.
yes,
because
we
if
can
I'm
put it
on-
in the notes to this live that
Very
after
good.
we go down, it'll still be there. So that's a great point. We will go ahead and put that in there so everyone can sign up to be drawn for a book, or go ahead and also become a guest for our show if that's something that you'd like to do.
So
I
we'll post
believe
those links in
also
the chat.
your link should be down in the description of this live automatically.
Exactly.
so.
So we'll go ahead and add those.
So at least people can find Linda if they want, and then
Perfect.
Yes,
ask
they can
Linda.
absolutely
She knows
find
what a
us,
forum is.
And if nothing else, the three of us are on the live. We can also be reached out to on any of the platforms that we're a part of. So we'll make sure everyone gets taken care of.